A very good afternoon to all the students attending the online lecture for Business Administration today. A warm welcome to all to yet another lecture for Business Administration Semester 3. Now, just like our classroom practice, in every online lecture as well, I would be spending few minutes in the beginning to revise the concepts that we might have already discussed in the previous online lecture. So to begin with, in the previous lecture, we had started with the very first unit of Business Administration Semester 3, that is Human Resource Management. I had talked to you about the different contents that are covered in Unit 1, such as what do you mean by a human resource? What do you mean by human resource management? How HRM and personnel management are different. The focus for today's lecture shall be on the characteristics of personnel management, also with the scope of human resource management. Now, in the previous lecture, I began with the discussion of as to what do you mean by a human resource and why is it so important in an organization. I had given you an example where I told you an organization may be having several other resources. It could be a natural resource, it could be a man made resource, it could be a physical or a financial resource. But all the resources are just a waste, are just futile if we don't have skilled and efficient human resources to utilize them. So while talking on human resource, I had told you that it comprises of the total knowledge, skills, creative abilities, talents, and aptitudes of an organization's workforce. Now, when I said workforce, I very well explained you that it not only includes a single individual, but each and everybody who is working in an organization. Could be the people from the lower level, middle level, or the higher level in an organization. Could be the board of directors, could be the chief executive officers, could be the employees, or could be the managers as well. All comprised together, their knowledge, their skills, their abilities, their talents, if merged together, forms nothing but the human resource of an organization. Moving further, we had also discussed in the previous lecture as to what do you mean by HRM, that is Human Resource Management. So we had broken up the words and we had understood the meaning that management of human resources or applying the managerial functions on human resources is nothing but human resource management. I also told you that it is nothing else but people management. We are aware about the fact that organizations do have a department, that is human resource department, where we have human resource managers to manage the human resources. So do you remember the definition that we had studied for HRM? I had told you that while managing human resources, out of all the different functions, there were few core functions that a manager will have to perform. That is acquiring the human resources, maintaining the human resources, developing the human resources, and properly utilizing them so that the objectives are achieved. But my dear students, what were these objectives? These objectives were not only the organizational objectives, but also the individual objectives or the personal objectives of an employee. So please read the definition once again. As I said, we want to accomplish the objectives, but by acquiring, retaining, that was also known as maintaining. If an employee does not work efficiently, we may terminate him, and properly using the human resources in an organization. So this was a very simple definition we had done for human resource management. Moving on, we had understood the characteristics of human resource management. You can quickly go through the slides. We have already discussed all the characteristics in detail in the previous lecture. To name a few, it was a modern approach. It is wider in its concept. We know that it will treat human beings as a valuable asset. It is people oriented or employee oriented, will consider the employee's welfare as well. Lastly, it was also proactive. So I had told you that HRM is not reactive in nature, it is proactive. It will take the precautions well in advance so that the human resource problems arising in future can be avoided. Go through the other characteristics of HRM. So human resource management will consider the quality of work life of employees. It believes in wholeness because we are not only concerned with organizational objectives but also with the goals of individual employee. Number 9, we had done that it is work done by every officer. It is not just a task of a specialist or an expert, but every manager in the organization. It is not just a paperwork because we require implementation of the same. Lastly, we need to achieve primarily the strategic goals of the company. Individual goals of employees will be achieved, but of course, the primary concern of any enterprise shall be to achieve its own goals first. So I hope you were clear with the revision of characteristics as well. Quickly go through the programs or the systems that human resource management makes use of. Again, we have already discussed the same in detail in the previous lecture. All right. This was again a topic we had discussed, and probably we had ended our previous lecture on this topic as to what is the difference between personnel management and human resource management. I had explained you the comparison between both of them. I'll make you revise again in 2 minutes. Now, the main crux of the difference or the comparison was that something that was narrow in its scope and something that was an old philosophy. What was that management? Do you remember? It was your personal management. But on the other hand, human resource management was something that is not only a modern approach, but also wider in its scope. Now, do you remember why personal management was narrow or why HRM was wider? So I had explained you the main difference between the two. When we studied the definition of human resource management, I told you that under HRM, we have to acquire the resources, we will maintain the resources, we will develop the resources also. And thereby, we would see that not only organizational objectives, but also the personal goals of employees are satisfied. But do you remember personnel management? What were the things that were excluded from its scope? So, personnel management considers acquiring, considers maintaining also. But was it paying attention to the development of skills? Was it paying attention to the individual goals of employee? So the answer is no. Personnel management will try to acquire those resources who are already developed and who are already skilled. The main concern was to increase the productivity of an organization and not to develop the skills of employee or not to help them achieve their own goals. That is why it is narrow and HRM is wider in its scope. So this was the difference between personnel management and human resource management. You can go through the points once more. I'll give you a few seconds just have an overview of the points because we had discussed every point in detail in the previous lecture. You can see even the fifth point where they have mentioned human resource management is preventive in nature, that is proactive in nature. But personal management, on the other hand, will be curative in nature, meaning to say it will cure the problems of human resources after they arise. But planning well in advance is not done in personal management. Go through the remaining points of difference. Again, you can pay attention to the last point also, that human resource management will consider the quality of work life because we are giving good working conditions, we are developing the skills of employees. But on the other hand, under personal management, the idea of quality of work life is quite subsidiary because the main importance is given to increasing productivity or achieving the goals of an organization, not about the employees. To sum up the difference between the two, I can say that human resource management is more personal oriented or more people oriented than personal management. All right. So, having discussed, having revised all the concepts we did in the previous lecture, I hope you are clear with that. Today, we begin with the new topics. First, for that is personal management. Now, personal management would be very easy for you to understand now because you already know the difference between HRM and personal management. So, if I talk about the very basic definition of personal management, you can say that it is a process of acquiring the resources, acquiring the human resources, maintaining the human resources, but these resources are such which are already skilled and satisfied. When I say skilled and satisfied, it is because personal management will not pay more attention towards development of skills of the employees. They will only be working for the development to the extent what is required to achieve the objectives. Once the objectives are being achieved, the skills of employees are not paid attention. So you can see the different definitions for personal management. As per CH Northcott, you can see that it is that part of the process of management which is specifically concerned with the people employed in an organization. So definitely even this approach, no matter it is narrow or no matter it is older, still it is concerned with the human resources only. But as I said, there are few parts that are excluded in personal management as compared to HRM. That makes it a narrow approach. The second definition is also a very nice and a very simple definition by Dr. George R. Terry, that personal management is concerned with the obtaining and maintaining of satisfactory and satisfied workforce. As I said, it will pay attention to acquire those resources who already have the skills in them so that later on we don't have to work for the development of their skills more. Secondly, we also want a satisfied workforce, meaning to say they should be satisfied in such a manner that no human related problems or human resource related problems occur in future, because we have studied earlier also that HRM is proactive in nature, but personal management is reactive in nature. And it will not consider the goals of individual employee. To give you further idea on personal management, let us go through the characteristics of the same very quickly. So as I said, it is concerned with human relations. It is considering the management of human resources, but of course excluding few points here and there as compared to HRM. Next, it is an important function of management. I began the lecture earlier by saying the same thing, that human resources are a valuable asset for any business organization. You can never imagine an organization working without HR. So managing the same is also an important function. Thereafter, it is related to the other functions of management. Now, these other functions could be planning, could be organizing, directing, controlling, staffing, and whatnot. So, personal management will include the other functions of management as well. Number four, various techniques are used in personal management. What are these techniques? We don't have to go in deep into it because we shall be doing in the lectures to come. It is a never ending process. So just remember that personal management is not an end in itself. It is actually a means to achieve the end. It is a never ending process. You cannot say that after acquiring the human resources, the task of managing the same stops. It keeps on and on continuously. It is more an art than a science because you need to have the art, you need to have the skill of how to manage your human resources to achieve the business objectives. Number seven, it is not merely a labor welfare activity. It is much more than that. And it is not going to pay attention to the welfare or to the welfare activities for the employees. No such improvement in the working conditions is thought about. That idea of quality of work life itself is quite subsidiary in personal management. Number eight, we know it is a staff function because we are dealing with one resource, that is human resource, and it is not to be performed by an expert or by a specialist. It is to be performed by a personal manager, so it is a staff function. Lastly, you need to recognize the human values as well. So this was all for personal management. I hope by now you are clear as to what is HRM, what is personal management, and how they both are different to each other. Always remember that what we are studying is the modern approach, is the wider concept, that is HRM, where the work does not stop with acquiring and maintaining the resources, but we work for the development of skills and we work for achieving the goals of the employee as well. So, after this sentence, all your doubts should have been clear. Moving to the next question for today's lecture, a very simple question: importance of human resource management. Now, just as we do even in the classroom lectures, I would give you the situation, I would explain you the situation about HRM, and then decide and try to answer yourself what can be the importance of human resource management. So, in human resource management, you know that employees are recruited scientifically. Scientific recruitment was also known as acquiring the right person for the right job at the right time. After acquiring the resources scientifically, I, as human resource manager, would also work for maintaining the human resources in my organization. I will see to it that they remain satisfied and they don't leave my organization. The third situation, I would also work for the development of the employees. That is to say, I will give them proper training. I will see to it that their skills are developed, their abilities are enhanced. Lastly, I would utilize them in such a manner that not only organization's objective, but also the personal objectives of employees are satisfied. So you have the definition of HRM once again in your mind. think about what can be the advantages or the importance of human resource management. So could you get at least 1 point of advantage of HRM? I hope yes. If not, let us see what are the different advantages. You can read the point and very well, it is self-explanatory. Point number one, fulfillment of objectives. So consider the situation that we have scientifically recruited our employees. We have given them proper training, proper education. Their skills are developed, so they will work efficiently for the organization. They are satisfied with the working conditions, the working environment. Definitely, they will increase the productivity, the wastage being reduced. Ultimately, the goals, the objectives will be achieved. Whose objectives? So please consider that HRM pays attention to the objectives of the organization as well as the objectives of the employee. Point number two, human resource management will increase the efficiency. Now, whose efficiency are we talking about? Once you are developing the employees' skills, talents, abilities by giving them proper training, they will work for the organization in a much efficient manner. Think about a situation where you have a trained employee and an untrained employee. Definitely, the work performed by a trained employee who knows how to work, who knows how to run the machinery, will finish the task in lesser time, probably in a better manner as well. So the efficiency of the employees will increase. Ultimately, the efficiency of the work in the organization will also be improved. Point number three, it will raise the morale of the employees. They feel motivated to work in the organization because the organization is investing into the development of the skills of employees. The organization is paying attention to the goals, to the problems of the individual employee. His career is planned in that organization. So definitely the morale will be boosted high. Point number four, the discipline will be maintained. Now, when I say discipline, the words such as rules and regulations should be coming in your mind. HRM also focuses on the task that the employees are considering the rules and the regulations of the organization. They are fulfilling the same and they are also accepting the orders given to them by the superiors. When such a culture is developed, definitely the discipline will be maintained. Number five, cordial employer employee relationships can be established. When I say cordial relationships, we see there is healthy cooperation amongst the employees and the employers. When as an employee I know that my employer is working for the development of my skills, is working for career planning, is helping me getting promoted to higher positions in the organization, my goals, my problems are also taken care of by my employer, definitely the relationships will be more stronger and much more cordial. Number six, development of team spirit. Now we are talking about not only the relations between employee and employer, but also between the other employees. When everything is clearly communicated, when every employee is thought about and managed in an organization, definitely there will be a team spirit, a good relation developed between the employees as well. When they work with team spirit, their productivity increases and they feel a sense of satisfaction to work. We can say that the complaints, the grievances ultimately gets reduced. Number seven, development of employees. Now, by now, this point should have been understood by you that human resource management develops the skills of the employee. So once their skills are the skills are developed, the abilities are developed, training is given to them, it will definitely lead to development of the same. Point number 8, need for self-esteem satisfied. Now, go back to your first year BCom. You remember a person, Abraham Maslow? What topic did we study about Abraham Maslow? Yes, it was the need hierarchical theory that we had understood given by Abraham Maslow. So, do you remember how many needs did he show us? He had shown us a hierarchy of 5 different needs, one of which was also self esteem. Self esteem, nothing but sense of pride, self respect earned in an organization. So, human resource management also satisfies the need for self esteem of an employee. When he is taken care of in the organization, maybe his opinions are asked for in the decision making, he's promoted to higher positions, he feels that sense of pride. Point number 9, cost of production is reduced. Again, very simple. When employees are efficient, employees are skilled, the work performed will be much better in a lesser time period. Wastage will be reduced. So, definitely, the cost of production has to be reduced. The more amount of production you do in lesser amount of time, it will reduce the cost of producing a single unit. And the last, when all the above 9 points are achieved, definitely it will raise the prestige, the goodwill, the reputation of the company. The company will be considered as the best place to work because the employees are motivated and satisfied there. I hope you were clear with this topic, that is advantages and the importance of human resource management. Now, moving to the last and the final topic for today's online lecture, we shall be now talking on the scope of human resource management. Scope, also known as the functions of human resource management, a very important question from your exam point of view also, and can be considered as the heart of the chapter. Scope is nothing but understanding what are the things covered in human resource management. When I say that we have a human resource department, we have human resource managers, what are the functions they are performing when they are doing human resource management? Those things you will be studying in this particular topic. Now, few things you already know here and there because we have understood the same either in definition, either in characteristics, either in the importance. So you will be understanding the topic very easily. Let us read that human resource management occupies an important place in the organization of an enterprise. The functions undertaken by the Department of HRM depends on the nature and the size of business enterprise. Definitely, a small sized business will have a different sort of human resource management as compared to a large sized business. Also, the nature would affect the same. There are a number of business organizations that are business organizations which are bigger and smaller. We have sole proprietors, we have partnership firms, we have a joint stock company. So every single organization has a different scope of human resource management. But the functions can be divided into the following categories. So let us have a look on the scope of HRM. I shall be reading out every point and explaining you what constitutes in it. So pay very keen attention to each and every point. So you can see the scope of HRM begins with the very first point that you already studied in the definition of HRM. Do you remember that? So it was recruitment, selection, and appointment. In the definition, you have already studied that HRM is acquiring the human resources. So acquiring is nothing but recruiting, selecting, and appointing them. But when I say recruitment, HRM is doing what kind of recruitment? So, do you remember? It is scientific recruitment. And what is scientific recruitment? It is to appoint the right person for the right job at the right time. First of all, a human resource manager will have to estimate the human resource requirement as to how many human resources are required in the organization, how many are already existing. The gap has to be identified, and then one has to work for recruitment. Let us say we have 10 employees, we require 15 more. That is where you begin with recruitment of the same. Conducting several tests or conducting several interviews or any sort of examination. Thereafter, the employees can be selected out of the pool of employees received. Ultimately, you would work for appointing the same. So, as a human resource manager, he has to keep a record of the past employees, the present employees, and also the prospective employees. Prospective meaning to say those who can be an employee of the organization in the near future. So, through several sources of labor supply, whether internal or external, the human resource manager can work for recruitment and selection of the employees. Number two, it is promotion, transfer, and termination of the employee. So, as a human resource manager, one needs to develop the rules, the procedures for promoting, demoting, transferring, and also terminating the employee. What do you mean by promotion? It is placing an employee from a lower level to a higher level position, or from the existing level to a higher level position. What do you mean by demotion? So, completely the opposite of promotion, where you bring down an employee from a higher to a lower level. Transferring could be transferring the employee from one department to another department or from one branch to another branch, while terminating could be releasing the employee or removing him from the organization ultimately. So, under HRM, one needs to frame the rules and the procedures for the same, and thereby needs to keep the records for promoting, demoting, transferring, and terminating of the employees. Point number three, HRM will also work for the training of the employees. Now, again, this you have studied in the definition that HRM focuses on the development of skills, talents, abilities. And how will it be developed? By providing training. Training can be given to the employees also, and also to the executives, that is a higher level authority, and that is known as executive development. So the programs for training have to be developed. You may remember the on-the-job methods, the off-the-job methods of training and development. So even those things have to be paid attention. Number four, the manager will also work for deciding the wages and the other incentives for the employee. When I talk about wages, you all know it is the salary, it is the compensation that an employee receives. But what do you mean by incentives? It could be something over and above the wages that an employee receives. It could be any form of bonus, commission, or any other perk, benefits, whatnot. But how does a manager decide the wage or the incentive? So, for that, there is something known as job analysis, job specification, and job evaluation. The entire analysis about what are the things covered in the job, covered in each job, has to be decided. ultimately every job has to be evaluated. When I say evaluated, its worth is to be identified. After identifying the worth, one can decide as to how much compensation is to be given for every job, because every person cannot be paid the same amount of wages, irrespective of their working or irrespective of their job. As the jobs are different, the job profile is different, the wages also have to differ. Point number 5, the service activities. So under service activities, I can say that the human resource department or human resource management works to provide welfare activities, housing facilities, the service for relaxation, the recreation to the employees. It could also be helping them how can they save and invest their money, providing them the medical facilities, working for their family welfare also at times, because these things, these services will keep the employees always satisfied to work in the organization, and thereby the quality of work life will also be improved. So I hope you were clear with these 5 points under the scope of HRM. Moving to the last 5, point number 6, collective bargaining and employees representation. When I say collective bargaining, it is nothing but negotiating with the employees. Employees have to be remaining satisfied, but there will be times where they come up with their grievances, their complaints against the company. So they have to be heard, they have to be negotiated with, and ultimately some kind of benefit or some kind of needs or complaints of the employees has to be satisfied and solved, so that there is a cooperation being developed between the employer and the employee. Point number 7 talks on career planning of human resource management. Now, this is very clear to you that human resource management works for planning out the career of an employee. How can an employee succeed and be promoted to higher positions in an organization? No one wants to stay stagnant in any place. So he also wants to improve. So thereby HRM can work for the same. Point number 8, development of personnel. So you know that employees' skills, talents are developed by providing them proper training in HRM. We have already talked about quite a lot on that. Point number 9, development of quality of work life. When I say quality of work life, it is the quality of working conditions that as a human resource manager, I'm providing to the employees. They should have such an environment where they have a good job to work, they have lesser stress to work, so they are working with lesser burden, the workplace is comfortable, and they feel free to work there. They are not working with some kind of burden on their shoulders every time. They have to be given facilities of relaxation and recreation so that they tend to remain motivated and satisfied. Because only when your workforce is satisfied, your targets can be achieved very easily. Lastly, human resource management also works for the development of company culture. When I talk about culture, we are talking about such an environment where employees are abiding by the rules, the regulations of the organization. They are abiding by the discipline, the orders received by the superior. They are also maintaining the ethics required at the same. Once they do that, the company culture can be developed, ultimately raising the prestige of the company. So I hope you were clear with all the topics covered today. To repeat myself, we have revised the topics done in the previous lecture. After that, we have studied 3 different topics today as to what do you mean by personnel management and its characteristics, what are the importance or the advantages of HRM, also the scope or the functions of HRM. We would meet in the next lecture now, again with Unit 1. Probably we would be ending the unit in the next online lecture. For any doubts, if you have, you can always comment, you can always write down your doubts in the Google Classroom for your respective class, and I shall be solving them at the earliest. See you soon for the next online lecture. Thank you for the day and happy learning.